The following program, The Russ Belville Show, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate to the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate any illegal activity and encourage all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers on The Russ Belville Show are their own, and The Russ Belville Show cannot be held legally responsible for their validity or reliability. Viewer discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think that we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Yeah, I hear you had a question for me.
Now, here's your host, Radical Russ Belville.
We love it.
Good day, tokers and tokets, and welcome to the show. It is Wednesday, April 2nd, 2014, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. We're so glad you could join us here. We're going to have a great show today. We got guests in the studio. Our good friend Pookie is here. We'll be talking to her in hour two, Toker Talk Radio, as well as Brian the Red, and we will have ourselves quite a fun day at the end of this hour, because today we are beginning our Waxy Wednesdays segment. Wax Wednesdays, that's right. Ganja John will be stopping in here. We're going to talk all about concentrates, wax, oil, Earl, butter, shatter, whatever you want to call it. We're going to talk about it here at the end of hour one. We'll probably also take it into hour two, Toker Talk Radio, and you can call in live 971-533-7111 if you've got any questions for Ganja John. You know, he's one of America's #1 concentrate manufacturers, so you'll definitely want to get the benefit of his expertise if you have any questions about butane hash oil. Also on today's show, some amazing polls out today. First of all, we had my congressman, Earl Blumenauer, telling the Huffington Post that marijuana prohibition is going to be game over in about 5 years. We got a poll from the Pew Research Center showing 75% of Americans believe marijuana legalization is inevitable nationwide, and a poll that was taken on WebMD and Medscape about doctors' opinions on medical marijuana. We'll break down all of those poll numbers at 1:30. We're going to do a special episode of drug war data mining and give you a look behind all of the demographics and crosstabs on those polls. Also, in Behind the Headlines, we'll take a look at the new Oregon Health Authority rules that will allow us to have pot brownies in our dispensaries. After all, what do you know? What good news that is. Also, Gordon Green will be calling in from Spain with his Gordon Green's Music Planet Irie Wednesday song of the day. We'll be pulling that video down, and he'll tell us all about it at 20 after as we get our Irie on, so to speak. But before we do all of that, we got our 420 radio news. And in the headlines today, as we mentioned earlier, 3/4 of Americans say marijuana legalization's inevitable. We have got a first listed marijuana intoxication cause of death in Colorado. We'll break down why that's not what you think it might be. Also, an interesting turnout on the vote for legalization in Dane County, Wisconsin last night. A look at activism going on in 11 Michigan cities for legalization in the next election. And Los Angeles still has no idea how many marijuana dispensaries it has. All that's coming up next on The Russ Belville Show.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
When you are starting up a medical cannabis business, you don't just want any attorney. You want a fired-up lawyer who understands the needs of cannabis consumers. The Law Office of Lauren Vasquez is your fired-up lawyer for the cannabis industry. Lauren Vasquez knows the details of California marijuana law from both a personal and professional angle. Lauren Vasquez rose from the ranks of college normal activist to become one of the Bay Area's best marijuana lawyers. Visit her website, fireduplawyer.com, or call 1-855-MMJ-LAWS for more information. That's 855-665-5297 for Lauren Vasquez, your Fired Up Lawyer, or email fireduplawyer@gmail.com. The number again is 855-MMJ-LAWS, 855-665-5297 for your Fired Up Lawyer, Lauren Vasquez. Lauren Vasquez is an activist attorney you can trust. Call today. 420 Radio, fighting prohibition since 2012. Hey tokers and tokettes, Radical Russ here to introduce you to my friend Matt and all the staff at Lush LED Lighting. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED Lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. If you thought LEDs were meet the tech of today, Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Let's just say I appear at a lot of events with the masters of indoor horticulture, and the harvests I saw from Lush LED Lighting were big, tight, sticky, and very effective. Check out LushLEDlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Double your rewards and lower your expenses with Lush LED Lighting.
This is your 420 Radio News for Wednesday, April 2nd, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. 3/4 of Americans now say that, quote, marijuana legalization is inevitable, end quote, nationwide. A new poll by the Pew Research Center found that 75% of Americans, quote, think that the sale and use of marijuana will eventually be legal nationwide, end quote. 39% of poll respondents support the legalization of recreational use of marijuana, and another 44% support medical use of marijuana, leaving just 16% of poll respondents who agreed with keeping marijuana prohibition in place as it is. Anti-legalization crusader Kevin Sabet responded, quote, saying that we don't want people to serve prison time for marijuana is very different from saying I want a pot shop in my neighborhood, end quote, even as the poll found 57% of the public would not be bothered by a pot shop in their neighborhood. We'll have more details on this poll and another from WebMD on doctors' attitudes toward medical marijuana in our drug war data mining segment at 1:30. A coroner in Denver has listed marijuana intoxication as a contributor to the death of 19-year-old Congolese student Levi Tamba. The young man fell to his death from a balcony at the Holiday Inn Denver East. Tamba, a student at Northwest College in Powell, Wyoming, was attending on an international studies scholarship and had taken a spring break trip with friends to Denver. According to the coroner's report, Tamba died from, quote, multiple injuries due to fall from height, end quote, which was a, quote, fall from a balcony after consuming a marijuana cookie, end quote, about which, quote, marijuana intoxication, end quote, was a, quote, significant condition, end quote. Tamba's blood tested at 7.2 nanograms per milliliter of active THC over the Colorado legal driving limit of 5 nanograms per milliliter. The coroner admits pointing the finger at marijuana for any death is, quote, a little unique, but that's all we had. He was fine. He was normal. He was an easygoing kid. And then he ate this cookie and went over the balcony. And this was not a kid who was suicidal, end quote. A vote on marijuana legalization not only passed in Dane County, Wisconsin last night, it greatly increased voter turnout. The non-binding referendum, which passed 65% to 35%, advises local politicians to support the legalization of marijuana at the state level. Statewide turnout for this early spring election averaged about 12%, but in Dane County, turnout was estimated at 19.8%. Also in Wisconsin, the Senate unanimously passed a bill allowing for the use of high CBD oil for the treatment of seizure disorder so long as, quote, the cannabidiol is in a form without a psychoactive effect, end quote. Wisconsin's CBD-only bill follows signing of such a law in Utah, passage of such laws in Alabama and Kentucky, and continued work on similar bills in South Carolina and Florida. In other Midwest legalization news, activists in Michigan have targeted 11 cities and 1 county for legalization initiatives in the coming elections. Legalization referendums were passed in Detroit and Flint in 2012, with Ferndale, Jackson, and Lansing following suit in 2013. For 2014, the Safer Michigan Coalition has its sights set on Saginaw, Mount Pleasant, East Lansing, Oak Park, Port Huron, Lapeer, Utica, Hazel Park, Clare, Onaway, Harrison, and the county of Benzie. Some initiatives will be on the ballot in the August primary and others in the November general election this year. Also, at the state level, advocates are pushing for the passage of HB 4263, which would decriminalize personal use and has the support of 65% of Michiganders. Although Los Angeles, California's Proposition D limited pot shops to just about 140, over 450 medical marijuana dispensaries have filed renewals for their city business taxes. This leaves officials still with no idea exactly how many dispensaries are operating in the city. Over 1,100 have registered with the city, but cutting out duplicates brings that number down to about 900. If so, the 450 renewals would represent a significant decrease in the number of shops that had been estimated to be as many as 700. Don Duncan, the California director of Americans for Safe Access, said, quote, "My impression overall is that fewer are operating now, but it's so hard to quantify." The Los Angeles Office of Finance has continued to take new tax license applications from dispensaries that hadn't been previously allowed open under Proposition D. This has been your 420 Radio News for Wednesday, April 2nd, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Transcripts of 420 Radio News are available at our website at 420radio.org. When we come back, we'll go behind the headlines and take a look at the new rules by the Oregon Health Authority regarding medicated edibles at Oregon dispensaries. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back. I'm Radical Russ Belville, and I want to thank you for listening to 420 Radio. We couldn't survive without you and our sponsors, and I'd like you to check out one of our prime sponsors, the National Cannabis Coalition. I've been working with NCC since June of 2012, and I'm proud to be part of the team they have assembled. National Cannabis Coalition is building the partnerships with reformers, lawmakers, and industry we need to be successful. Visit the National Cannabis Coalition website at nationalcannabiscoalition.com or the easier-to-remember ncc420.com. That's where you'll get the exclusive first look at my radical rants, as well as informative articles from the nation's top cannabis pundits. Visit ncc420.com today, and if you have your phone handy, text Russ to 420-420 to support NCC and 420 Radio. It's a free text message that helps us help you end adult marijuana prohibition. Learn more at ncc420.com, and thanks for supporting independent marijuana legalization public radio.
Let 'em bring in the beat.
Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, The Russ Belville Show, Ganja John, and Cascadia Concentrates, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Adam's meticulous designs are individually crafted and screened in vibrant, high-definition color. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org.
Let 'em bring in the beat.
Hemp Radio with Patty Cakes from Orange County, California, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. GMT on 420radio.org.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's 15 after the hour and time for us to go behind the headlines where Oregon dispensaries will have pot brownies after all. Yes. Good news there. This is thanks to overwhelming response by patients. A plan by the Oregon Health Authority that we told you about has now been scrapped. It was draft rules that they had proposed that would have banned at any of our newly legal dispensaries any medicated edible product that was, quote, manufactured in a form that resembles cake-like products, cookies, candy, or gum, or that otherwise may be attractive to minors because of its shape, color, or taste, end quote. Tom Burns, the head of OHA's dispensary oversight, originally crafted the rules in response to worries about children mistakenly eating medicated edibles. But then they received about 300 emails from patients and advocates explaining how a ban on, brownies or lollipops or gummies doesn't make those items disappear, it makes them go underground. They also explained how many patients can't inhale marijuana through smoking or vaporization, and they shouldn't have to be relegated to bland, tasteless edibles for relief. Others were shocked that the OHA would basically incentivize patients towards smoking, which is the least healthful way of ingesting cannabis medicine. Well, yesterday the OHA released its final rules, which went into effect immediately. They seem to now understand that it's better to regulate production of sweet edibles so they can control the look and packaging of them, rather than turn every patient's home kitchen in Oregon into a source for tinfoil, sandwich baggie, and wax paper wrapped edibles out on the black market. Now, these new rules still bar any products that are attractive to minors, but now that definition does not include any references to type or taste of food. What won't be allowed is any brightly colored food or medibles shaped like an animal or any other commercially recognizable toy or candy. That seems reasonable. I mean, no pot animal cookies or brand rip-offs on like a Snickers bar or something. But what counts as a brightly colored food? Is a medicated Rice Krispie treat okay? But only if we use the plain Rice Krispies, not those rainbow colored ones. I mean, these rules are pretty vague and they don't really define what bright colors are. And as far as what's attractive to minors, what is it about a product that's going to make it attractive to minors that doesn't also make it attractive to adults? I understand the want here to try to prevent the diversion or the mistaken ingestion of medicated edibles by minors. But these kinds of rules with these vague definitions just sound to me like ways of getting good people in trouble. Where I see a little better result is in the OHA's new rules about requiring the different packaging, which has to be opaque and childproof and cannot be a container that is brightly colored, depicts cartoons or images other than the logo of the facility, unless the logo of the facility depicts cartoons, in which case only the name of the facility is permitted. So, I mean, you're not going to be able to make Scooby stacks with a picture of Scooby-Doo on them or anything, right? I mean, not that Hanna-Barbera would let you anyway, but that I can kind of get behind. Let's not have the Keef Cats and the Butterfingers and the candy bar looking products that look like candy bars and could easily confuse a youngster. I'm fine with that. But this idea of, it just can't be attractive to minors, that seems a little vague to me. As far as this packaging goes, brightly colored to me also sounds like something that's going to be set for litigation. I mean, how bright does a color have to be before it's brightly colored? We have to measure the hue and the saturation on labels here. Will there only be certain Pantone approved colors that are allowed to be used on these different packages? I know if I was putting together a business, I would try to be as careful as possible and maybe even just go with black and white packaging just to make sure that there's no possibility any of the colors involved could be considered too bright. But this is a major victory for the advocates here in the state of Oregon and the patients who all banded together. I mean, as soon as these draft rules were announced, the different email lists and boards that I'm a part of here in the state of Oregon went crazy. Everybody just decrying the idea that patients shouldn't have something that tastes good, that patients shouldn't be able to get medicated cookies or cakes or brownies, when so many of them point out that They don't have the luxury of smoking or vaporizing. Some of them have compromised immune systems and compromised pulmonary systems that make it much more difficult for them. And for them, a cookie, a brownie, a cake, an edible, that's their way of getting medicine. So kudos to Tom Burns and the Oregon Health Authority for listening to the people, and good job, people, for screaming about it. You got it done. All right, and that sound means now it's time for us to take a break. So we'll take a break, enjoy some Oregon herbs, and when we come back, we'll have Gordon Green with us for our Daily Toker Tunes. Stick around.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. Have you ever met that funny reefer man? A reefer man. If he said he swam to China, he would sell you South Carolina. Then you know you're talking to that reefer man.
Marijuana, do you wanna? Mary, do you wanna tonight?
As marijuana goes mainstream, you need to be armed with the facts. Nobody can teach you better than Dr. Mitch Earlywine, Ph.D. You may know Dr. Mitch from his column in High Times magazine or his weekly appearance on the Russ Belville Show. Dr. Mitch is also the author of some of the best books on marijuana science, culture, history, and health, including Understanding Marijuana, Parents' Guide to Marijuana, Pot Politics, and more. Visit Amazon.com and search for Mitch Earlywine, that's EARLEYWINE, and order your books today. You can also contact Dr. Mitch by email at 420research@gmail.com.
Support the Russ Belville Show. Text the word Russ to 420-420 and connect with the National Cannabis Coalition. You can also send $10 to the Russ Belville Show right from your smartphone. That's Russ to 420-420. You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
I say, little red carpet, darling, your much too fast. Little red carpet, you need a lover that's gonna lay.
Georgia. Hi, this is Willie Nelson, and I need your help. Our marijuana laws are terribly unfair, and they make criminals out of law-abiding citizens. Nearly 2,000 Americans are arrested every day on marijuana charges, and we are unfairly destroying the lives and careers of hundreds of thousands of people simply because they smoke marijuana. These are not criminals. They are average citizens like you, good neighbors who work hard, raise families, pay taxes, and contribute to their communities. And it's time we stopped arresting responsible marijuana smokers. We need your help to end marijuana prohibition once and for all. It's the fair thing to do.
For more information, contact NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Call toll-free 888-67-NORML or visit their website at norml.org.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Irie Wednesday, featuring reggae, ska, and other world music genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tunes.
Welcome back, everyone. 24 after the hour, and joining us by telephone all the way from Spain, we got Gordon Green on the line. How you doing, Gordon?
Salut, Russ. Just rolling up some Huckleberry Kush.
Huckleberry Kush, that's a good one. We had some Blackberry OG Kush here a while back, very berry smelling. Is that a Spanish-grown plant you got?
It is, but I acquired these beans from some guys from Portland who were starting a seed bank.
Yeah.
Met them at Spannabis last year. They went under or trying to reorganize, but good stuff.
Excellent. All right. And for today's tune, you got us a video, and I think I've heard of this group before, but maybe you can tell us a bit about them.
Yeah, man. It's Kabaka Pyramid. I played him before on Irie Wednesday. He's out of Kingston, Jamaica. Won tons of awards as up-and-coming reggae superstar. He's playing a couple of gigs in Europe. He's going to be in Munich, Germany in middle of April. He's playing London on April 21st. And what do you know? He's going to be at the Mendocino County Fair in Boonville, California on June 20th. This is Kabaka Pyramid with Protege and Warrior.
Right on.
We deal with enlightenment and spiritual
Peace out.
awakening, you know, as well as the lyrical ability.
Selassie. Yeah, man, for the warriors, you know. Yeah. No. Yeah. Man, a real warrior today, warrior tomorrow, same way. Man, a real warrior today, tomorrow we not go stray. Yeah. Man, a real warrior today, warrior tomorrow, same way. Man, a real warrior today, tomorrow we not go stray. Man, a survivor, black version of MacGyver. Fit the people, them where you cry, Nina. Send me a me own a designer, liner. Judas Selassie, I forever. Inna them ya time, ya oneness, I apply for. Deep in a meditation, me take a dive, ya. Limbo boy, Orthodox and 12 tribe, ya. Them thing the people feel remind of. Yeah. Man, a real warrior today, warrior tomorrow, same way. Yeah. Man, a real warrior today, tomorrow we not go stray. Yeah. Man, a real warrior today, warrior tomorrow, same way. Yeah. Man, a real warrior today, tomorrow we not go stray. I and I have no fear, ya. Black version of Guavera. Fight the direction, them a steer you. The truth we after, and we can't falter, say Kabaka. Hold the order, play the part. See them come for slaughter the youths and alter the truth. And capture the spirit and then rapture recruits. When I actually you determine the action, the move, definition of a warrior for true. Message we a carry a for use. History of the brothers them abuse. Take a step in them shoes, so you dead them man. Moral be a rebellion. Calm before the storm with the loss in your palm. Man, a real warrior today, warrior tomorrow, same way. Man, a real warrior today, tomorrow we not go stray. Man, a real warrior today, warrior tomorrow, same way. Man, a real warrior today, tomorrow we not go stray. Inna these last days, with Babylon me have a pathways. Treading the valleys and the pathways. Sister them and dance hate. Feel me life them want to gamble like a horse race. Heart racing when me start lace up my boots. With no fear, just a cold steer. No scissors, no comb here, no shear. No sleep at times, hunger belly till we weak at times. Some people can have peace of mind, but this peace of mind is very relative. Them want to take a piece of mind and sell with relatives. When we combine them, see how dread it is. Cutting off the enemies' energies. Yeah, man, a real warrior today, warrior tomorrow, same way. Man, a real warrior today, tomorrow we not go stray. Yeah, man, a real warrior today, warrior tomorrow, same way. Man, a real warrior today, tomorrow we not go stray. Man, a real warrior today. No, man, a real warrior today. This is for my warriors, battlefield warriors. Protege is a warrior, Kabaka P is a warrior. Sing face, don't know. Rastafari, lead the way, yeah. For my warriors.
Support the Russ Belville Show. Text the word Russ to 420-420 and connect with the National Cannabis Coalition. You can also send $10 to the Russ Belville Show right from your smartphone. That's Russ to 420-420.
In the afternoon, if I'm home, I smoke marijuana.
You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
Marijuana, yeah, yeah. Oh, I got my ganja.
Georgia. Hi, this is Willie Nelson, and I need your help. Alcohol prohibition didn't work in the 20s, and marijuana prohibition isn't working today. It's time we stop arresting law-abiding citizens because they prefer marijuana over alcohol. Nearly 2,000 Americans are arrested every day on marijuana charges. We're unfairly destroying the lives and careers of hundreds of thousands of people each year simply because they smoke marijuana. These are not criminals. They're average citizens like you, good neighbors who work hard, raise families, pay taxes, and contribute to their communities. We need your help to end marijuana prohibition once and for all. It's the fair thing to do.
For more information, contact NORML, the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws. Call toll-free 888-67-NORML or visit their website at norml.org.
Big Daddy thinks.
Funky roller ring. Oh yeah, this is Big Daddy, and I'll be your freakazoid every Thursday night, right here at the Funky Roller Ring. Funky Roller Ring. 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific. Funky Roller Ring.
I like it like that.
Who's that?
Making the case for marijuana legalization has never been easier. Thanks to your tax dollars, state and local governments have compiled massive databases of studies, polls, and surveys that prove legalization beats prohibition. And they're all just a mouse click away. Join us now for another lesson in drug war data mining.
Welcome back, everyone. 32 after the hour, and today we've got 10 signs that marijuana prohibition's game over in less than 5 years. That's the bombshell headline that's ringing across the internet today, because on Monday, my congressman, Earl Blumenauer, announced on Huffington Post Live that marijuana prohibition is, quote, game over in less than 5 years, end quote. Representative Blumenauer pointed out that, quote, throughout the whole marijuana issue debate, there are numerous flat-out falsehoods. Schedule 1 drug? No therapeutic use? Worse than cocaine and meth? I mean, wait a minute. Blumenauer continued, but the hemp one, that was so blatant and so obvious, and that's what's changing the whole marijuana landscape, is that all the falsehoods, misrepresentations, and misclassification that have been basically sanctioned by inertia no longer work, end quote. I am so happy that every 2 years I get to vote for Earl Blumenauer for the United States Congress. Because when U.S. congressmen are making statements that we were writing on protest signs 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago, you know we're winning. And now the Pew Research Center has some solid polling entitled America's New Drug Policy Landscape that finds 3 out of 4 Americans, 75%, quote, think that the sale and use of marijuana will eventually be legal nationwide, end quote. We're going to dig into that in our drug war data mining, and I'd encourage you to check out the Pew Research Center online. They have a number of polls having to do with marijuana legalization. But here's 10 highlights from the most recent poll that back up Representative Blumenauer's prediction. Number 1, there is no majority support among any demographic for jailing pot smokers. By age, by race, and by politics, there is solid support for the idea of decriminalization, that possession of small amounts of marijuana for personal use should not be subject to jail time. Overall, More than 3 out of 4, or 76%, believe in no jail for pot, with Republicans at 69%, people 65 and older at 63%, and Hispanics at 60%, offering the least support for decriminalization, and they're all over 60%. Over 4 out of 5, or 81%, of the young people aged 18 to 29, and surprisingly, middle-aged people aged 50 to 64, support decrim, 81%. And even people who have never tried marijuana in their life support decrim at 63%. While among those who currently use marijuana, there is an odd 3% who support their own jail time, versus 97% of us who support decrim. Number 2, there is growing majority support for the legalization of marijuana. Pew's overall number is at 54% support versus 42% opposed. Everyone younger than 65 supports legalization, with support jumping to 70% among the millennials aged 18 to 29. Hispanics and Republicans oppose legalization, similar to their lower support for decrim. Number 3, people who support legalization understand that legalization means less underage use. Now, overall, 54% of the respondents believed marijuana legalization means more kids will try it. But those numbers reflect a great deal about the respondents' views on legalization itself. For those who opposed marijuana legalization, 4 out of 5 of them thought that legalization leads to youth use. For those who support only medical marijuana, 2/3 think legalization increases child access. But among the people who support legalization, less than 1/3, just 29%, think more kids will try marijuana. Number 4, people don't mind home marijuana use. Overwhelmingly, 83% of Americans don't take issue with your personal use of pot in your own home. Even 3 out of 5 people who think pot use, medical or recreational, should remain a crime, even 3 out of 5 of them don't care if you're toking at home. Number 5, people prefer regulated pot shops to street dealers. Overall, a majority of 57% would not mind a pot shop in their neighborhood. 57% would not mind a pot shop in their neighborhood. However, it is kind of like that underage use issue. It depends on how they feel about legalization. 76% who prefer prohibition would be bothered by a pot shop, and 57% of those who only support medical would be bothered by a pot shop. Number 6, people aren't quite ready for public pot smoking. 63% of the respondents said they would be bothered if people used marijuana in public. And that figure also depends on the respondents' views toward personal use. But even among people who support legalization, 39% of us, wouldn't support public toking. Number 7, marijuana use is up over the past 5 years. Pew notes that there were 14.5 million monthly marijuana smokers in 2007, and they accounted for 5.8% of the population. By 2012, there were 18.9 million monthly tokers, making up 7.3% of the population. Number 8, people support their states getting rid of mandatory minimum sentencing. 63% of the respondents say the move by states away from mandatory sentences is a good thing, which is a rise of 17 points since the question was last asked in 2001. There was no racial, no age, and no political demographic that saw moving away from mandatory minimums as a bad thing. Number 9, people overwhelmingly support drug treatment over prosecution for those with serious drug problems. 2/3 of the respondents agreed that the government should focus more on treatment for drug abuse than criminal prosecution. And again, there was no racial, no age, and no political demographic that preferred criminal prosecution. However, blacks were far more likely, at 81%, to push for drug treatment than whites, 66%, and Hispanics, 61%. And number 10, people understand that marijuana is safer than alcohol. When asked which drug would be more harmful if they were both equally available, 69% of respondents felt alcohol was more harmful to a person's health than marijuana. 63% of the respondents felt alcohol was also more harmful to society than marijuana. Now, following up on that poll from Pew Research Center is another poll that came out from WebMD recently that found more doctors support nationwide medical marijuana than the general public does. This is kind of interesting, as medical marijuana is now legal in 20 states, or 21, 22, 23 if you count the CBD-only states. And of course, with Dr. Sanjay Gupta continuing to make amends for systematically misleading the people on the medical utility cannabis. And as patient after patient after patient teaches their doctors how well marijuana works for them, well, what do you know? Doctors are finally coming around. A new survey from WebMD Medscape has found that 56% of doctors surveyed supported, quote, making marijuana legal nationwide for medical purposes. Surprisingly, only 50% of the general public they surveyed agreed with that. WebMD's chief medical editor, Michael W. Smith, MD, said, quote, the findings would indicate a strong desire to have the DEA ease the restrictions on research so that additional studies can be done to conclusively show where medical marijuana can help and where it might not, end quote. More than 2/3 of the doctors, 67% of them, said medical marijuana should be an option for their patients, and 69% of them said it can help with certain treatments and conditions. Only 52% of the public surveyed believed medical marijuana could really help patients. Support was highest among oncologists, those would be cancer specialists, and hematologists, those who specialize in blood diseases, with 4 out of 5 of them, it was actually 82% of them, saying medical marijuana can help their patients and should be a legal option. 82% of doctors, of oncologists and hematologists. Rheumatologists, those who specialize in arthritis, had the lowest support among any specialty, but it was still a majority, 54%, who say that medical marijuana helps their patients. And then when they asked them by each specialty, which kind of doctor receives the most patients who are inquiring about medical marijuana, 70% of neurologists, that would be doctors with dealing with nerve pain, right? 70% of neurologists reported patients seeking relief with cannabis. Oncologists, hematologists, and ophthalmologists, those would be eye doctors, right, also saw majorities with cannabis-seeking patients. However, the survey did not find majority support for marijuana legalization for recreational use, with 53% of the doctors and 51% of the public against it. However, we got to take that with a grain of salt, because the poll was conducted, at least for the consumer side of it, was conducted as a random sample of almost 3,000 visitors to WebMD's website. And the doctor side was 1,500 doctors who were members of Medscape's panel. So it's not like a truly scientific poll, especially those numbers from the general public, because we're only talking about self-selected people who are visiting WebMD. Might be, a little more on the hypochondriac side than your general public. And again, recall that the Pew Center poll that also came out today showed 54% support for marijuana legalization, 76% opposition of jail time for personal marijuana use, and 3/4 of the people who believe marijuana legalization is inevitable. Only 1 out of 6 people, 16% of the American public, still prefers to maintain criminal marijuana prohibition. That's the good news from today's drug war data mining. You can check this information out at the Pew Center for Research. Also, WebMD has their latest on their website. All right, stay tuned. We'll be back right after this.
Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Marijuana and alcohol are the two most popular recreational drugs in America. Marijuana smoking is non-toxic, relatively safe, and has a low risk of dependence. Alcohol drinking is potentially fatal, dangerous to society, and is quite addictive. Marijuana is safer, so why are we driving people to drink? That's the question of the new book, Marijuana is Safer, So Why Are We Driving People to Drink? By Paul Armentano, Mason Tvert, and Steve Fox. Visit Amazon.com or ChelseaGreen.com today to order your copy of Marijuana is Safer, or visit marijuanaissafer.com. 420 Radio, your ticket to the Boston Freedom Rally.
One joint contains as much cancer-causing tar as 4 cigarettes. Marijuana, it's more harmful than we all thought.
Hey man, am I driving okay?
The Russ Belville Show reminds you to never smoke and drive impaired. Hang out for a while. Share.
I think we're parked.
Take a little trip, take a little trip, take a little.
You want answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended the Shaolin Temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Hooah!
Radical rant.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Things are a little chaotic here because Ganja John stepped in, and anytime Ganja John walks into a room, all my planning goes to hell.
Yeah.
Although we did plan for this. This is our Waxy Wednesdays that we're starting.
Yes.
And we brought Ganja John in because, concentrates are becoming the biggest thing as far as the young marijuana community goes, and some of us older folks.
I don't think it's a young thing.
You don't think so?
No.
I know.
Everybody,
I talk to guys under 30, it's like it's all about the dabs for them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, everybody, I think, under 30's into it, but I don't think it's just specifically a young person thing. I've gotten my mom to do it.
Yeah.
Have you gotten your mom to do it yet?
No, that's not happening.
No, not happening.
That's never happening. That's the disadvantage I have. A lot of my marijuana family, like I'll go visit the folks in Georgia and I'm hanging out with Sharon and her daughters, or I'll hanging out with these, like you and your mom and dad.
Right.
I get so jealous because that's never going to happen in my life.
Yeah. I never thought it would happen in my life, but occasionally people get desperate and take a dab. Can I just say one thing?
Sure.
I'm sorry we were late, but have you ever been to Disneyland when it's like a special theme week or theme day?
Yeah.
They have like cheerleader day. Today it's handicap day out on the Portland roads.
Oh. Is it really?
Yeah, everyone with Down syndrome and various types of retardation are driving.
Is this official?
I'm autistic.
Yeah.
I am autistic. I have test results to show you, and I was screaming retard.
Yes. Todd was screaming retard out the window.
Let's welcome
and
also.
I hate that word. So.
Yeah.
And we got Todd Armstrong in here as well, who's taken up my haircut.
Yes, no, a bad haircut in combination with just getting old and being bald combo pack.
That's right. After a while,
Have you ever just done drugs and gone, God damn it, I got to shave my head?
No, I did that sober.
Oh, really? Yeah, I've taken too much acid in my life and gone, oh, no, I need to shave my head. This hair is too much.
This hair is overwhelming me.
That's what the beard does.
Yeah, the beard does that to you.
So I wanted to show this on the cam while I'm thinking about it. We've got Permanent Comedy with Todd Armstrong right here. And a little 8-bit Todd Armstrong picture.
Yes.
Very nice. Why don't you tell us about this, and I'll show it off.
The web series I've had up for about a year and a half now, Permanent Comedy, where I interview other comics. We're doing the first episode, actually. We're done with the pilot. We got all the formula figured out. The first episode is with Ganja John, and it's also going to feature a lot of footage from the live shows we're doing at Helium Comedy Club. And, of course, anybody wants to come in, you can just drop a Radical Russ, and I'll get you on the list free. Anybody in Portland Metro wants to go to the show.
Right on.
Yeah, but it's Ganja John got his first tattoo on the show.
I did.
Yeah, we saw that the other day.
Yeah, I took my pants off while I was wearing a suit.
The tiger sickle. What the hell was it?
It is a tiger wailing on a guitar, taking a dab, sitting atop a hammer and sickle.
All right, and let's show people how you're able to come up with such creative thoughts like that. Show them that slab there.
Okay.
this is what leads to that inspiration.
Yeah, so today, I just came from Brightside, and we dropped off one of these. I can show you here. This is Cinex, just like, I think this is 30 grams or something like that.
Where's our scale? Where's our damn scale?
Yeah, but yeah, so you can go pick that up today. I came in with a slab today, and someone like saw it as I brought it in, and they were like, "Oh, I want 6 grams off of that," and it was only like a 20-gram slab or something. So
jeez,
stuff goes pretty fast.
Yeah,
I'm finding out.
We had our chatter high in Hawaii. Was wanting to know exactly what the hell shatter was because he had somebody apparently trying to tell him it was speed.
Oh my goodness! I guess speed can shatter.
Yeah, I guess it could. Yeah, you could make crystalline
meth.
And stuff,
meth. Yeah, sure. But yeah, I mean, shatter is just a...
That's what I heard at the shop. They're like, "Oh, it looks like yellow meth." I was like, "Well, I know what yellow is, but I don't know what meth looks like."
Yeah, shatter is just a type of hash oil, basically the kind that you can pick up, and when you drop it, it shatters into a million pieces. I would do that with this, but it gets messy. And I end up leaving about $55 on the table before I leave. So
I gotta say, I prefer when I'm doing dabs, I prefer shatter just because when you're dealing with like oils or wax, you always got some tool you're dealing with, and inevitably you're gonna get sticky somewhere.
Right.
But with shatter, I always feel like I can just like snap off a piece and drop it.
Yeah, dropping bombs.
I love that.
I mean, this stuff you can just pick right up. It's not really a big deal to pick it up and mess with it.
How's it, Mike's?
Just the one with the yellow on it.
That's the one with the yellow.
Sorry.
The yellow crack mic.
Those are that's not the one.
Got the wrong wires.
Wrong wires. Look for the green and yellow one.
Am I not on?
This one, you're on. It's those extra 2 mics.
Okay.
I see it.
These two fellas.
Russ, you gotta clean up in here, man. You gotta.
No, I have assistants for that.
No, we have
production assistant Brian.
Russ and I did a show for years, and we had a system going where our stacks of garbage were piled very nicely, and the wires went around them ever so greatly. And when I left, Brian fucked that up.
It's all fucked up. That's it.
I had to put a system into place and organize shit.
There was a system.
Oh well.
But anyways, so
I
fucked up.
The Cinex you can pick up at Brightside, but I want to talk about more permanent comedy, which I did. I did the live show with Todd. It was my first time on a comedy stage, really. But when is that going to get released?
That's going to come out at the end of the month.
The end of the month, and so we'll probably, if you don't mind, Russ, we'll throw it in the rotation too. So
you bet.
We're going to.
Russ is going to do some narration work, and we're going to get a 8-bit cartoon of Mr. Russ Belville.
Yeah, which is what we've
get his animated.
Maybe I'll
GIF
dip my
going.
toe into some open mic one of these days too.
Yeah, I think you definitely should.
It was fun when I did the roast with Ralph Martinez. I always feel like a roast is maybe like baby step comedy though.
Yeah,
because it's just mean jokes.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially about an easy subject.
About an easy subject, exactly.
Yeah, because you can just do comedy once and then change your Facebook job status to comedian.
That's all you got to do.
That all takes just once.
The only job on earth.
Russ has been doing music for years, but he isn't a musician quite yet. He's not a musician until he's played once in front of like 2 people. Then you can change the hundreds of people that didn't matter, but
right. So let's.
Sorry, I obviously have a bone to pick with somebody.
I guess so. You got more bones to pick than an archaeologist, man. But you got your little mini rig there now. Titanium nail.
Titanium nail, highly educated nail. Is pretty much the only titanium I use. I'll use quartz every once in a while if I'm feeling saucy. But this is my travel rig, and you can tell it's got a huge thing of oil in the bottom of it. You see that there, Russ?
Yeah.
Giant
It's the same one tattooed on.
I love it.
It's almost like beetle.
Yeah, absolutely. This is also the same rig that's tattooed onto my leg right now too.
Yeah.
So I had it with me when I got the tattoo, and I didn't like the regular pull carb that he had drawn out. So I said, let's just put this tattoo on me.
Right on. All right, so we're gonna all try this out. This is part of what we're gonna do on Wax Wednesdays. We're gonna sample some of these dabberage and give our opinions on the said dabberage. We got a full house today. We got Ganja John's heating it up. Todd Armstrong's over there. Pookie's here from Ohio originally, now from Washington. Brian Ared's across the way. Left Wing Larry is right there. And underneath my feet, you may have heard him earlier, Ross Catelli, Smelly Felly, Semicolon, Pucker Butt, Nut Stomper, Boob Squisher, Sanchez, Gomez, Rodriguez, Ramirez, Coltrane is back in the studio.
P. Coltrane.
Yes, I love this dog.
He's a good dog.
That dog is an awesome dog.
Okay, so we're gonna have Russ try out this Cinex on my dirty bong.
Got a dirty bong, dirty bong,
Ooh.
dirty bong,
dirty bong.
This is one thing I didn't bring my carb cap today, but people should be capping their hits
with that beautiful blade too.
Yeah, you can do it with this Happy Daddy dabber too. You can just kind of throw it across the top and it basically holds the smoke in. You get less oxygen. Now Russ isn't coughing because he didn't all that filthy oxygen mixed in with his smoke.
Right. You gotta pull the choke on your lawnmower. You check you gotta put the choke on any real American car. You gotta put the choke on your damn bone.
We weren't doing this probably 4 or 5 months ago, but now there's a special tool that Highly Educated makes to do it. I can't believe that we
It's a great
smoked
cap.
without it.
It's amazing tool.
Weird.
Yeah, it's development of these things, even over just the past 2 years, we've gone from handmade wire skillet crap, attached to a bong.
The wire skillet, which I hated. I absolutely hated. They go
swing arms.
They would get all messed up, and then you'd have to get them redone by somebody, or you'd have to sit there with your pliers forever, and then accidentally break your glass. It was just awful, but. Yeah, I mean, the first time I ever smoked hash was off of the first cup you took me to, was this long glass stick that you put a piece of oil on the end of, and then it had a tube in it, which essentially I know now
like
was
a
crack pipe.
Yeah.
It was a crack pipe. But it was just it was a fancy one.
It was a fancy crack pipe. It was for weed crack.
Yeah.
Weed crack. All right, so I'll do some more of this dabbage. While we're doing this, folks in the chat room, give me an idea, if you're in the chat room there and if you've got any access to oil, what's your local prices? What are the prices going for
they
oil?
haven't been doing this on the High Times Price Index that they've been doing for 50 years or whatever, how long that magazine's been around. 40 years. But yeah, they've been doing that price index. They don't price out oil, and that's an interesting thing because when I first started buying it, it would go in California for $50 a gram or $80 a gram. Then I'd come back to Portland and it would go for between 20 and 40. Now mine always goes for about 40 or 50. Not by any fault of my own. It's just that I don't make it dirty and gross.
Yeah.
And so if you make it dirty and gross, you can usually get about $15-20 a gram. Stay away from things that look like powder. If it looks like yellow Coke, don't smoke it. It's got butane in it. That's one of the big things that that people have been doing is they whip the shit out of their oil, and instead of making it look pretty like this, it looks like sand. And I don't know about you, but I'm sure you've used, you smoked it before. It's hard to work with, first of all. And second of all, it pops, it sizzles, it's gross.
That was the other thing I've heard as a safety measure for people is if your dab is popping.
If it's
on the nail or something.
Sizzling, anything.
Yeah, if it's making a noise, like I'll do it right on the mic.
It should just melt. It should just melt like a piece of butter, and I mean, realistically, if you're having wax or that powder and stuff, it's never smelling like flour.
Hey, we're going to continue the dabberage going on into Hour 2 Toker Talk Radio. And if you got any questions, please call in to 971-533-7111. You got some of the experts here on cannabis concentrates, making them, using them, identifying them. This is your time.
GanjaJohn.com.
Check out GanjaJohn.com. Check out Todd Armstrong on permanentcomedy.com. And, of course, us here at 420 Radio. But for everyone here, the whole full house, Left Wing Larry, Brian the Red, Pookie, Todd Armstrong, Ganja John, Roscoe P. Coltrane, I'm Radical Russ. Thanks for joining us. Hour 2 is next. Stay tuned. And until next time, take care of each other, tokers.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it.